sweet pie. Oh, you a sweet little thing. You're just a sweet little thing. Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Amanda and this is my 4-week postpartum update. Can't believe 4 weeks has passed already. In a few days she's going to be 1 month old. I can't even believe it. And as you can see, I have the little lady with me right here, and she will be my little model and assistant for this video. So first of all, I will do a little update on her. She is a dream baby. She is such a good baby. We love her so much. Power to the people. She makes these adorable little squeaks and sounds and everything. I've talked about that in my last videos. When she sneezes, she kind of goes up and then it's really cute. She is just so easygoing, like even more so than her brother was, and that's saying something because he was a really easygoing baby too, but like she's even more so. So like I said, yeah, my prediction about her activity level in the womb was correct. Like she really is just a really chill baby. She still just fusses when she's hungry. She gets hangry and that's about the only thing, and then she eats, or you know, sometimes she'll even cluster feed for an hour or whatever. Then she's totally fine. She's happy to go. Even if she's awake, she just looks around, you know. She's just so sweet. She has this little look, like when I'm looking at her, she just like looks up and like, "Mommy, I love you," and oh, I can't even describe just how much it makes my heart swell up with love. So we went to the midwife today for our 4-week checkup, and we weighed her. That was the main thing, and she is now 9 pounds 9 ounces. That is awesome. She was 7'11" at birth. Now she's up to 9 pounds 9 ounces, so she's chunking out a little bit. She had these little toothpick legs at the beginning, but now she's starting to get a little baby chub on there. So yeah, you're doing your job, aren't ya? You're a good eater. So yeah, nursing is going really well. I actually started pumping last night for the first time. I'm getting into a pumping schedule. I'll talk about that in a minute. In my very first pumping session, I got 5.5 ounces, and so I'm like, yeah. Booyah. There's like something so satisfying, like seeing the milk that your body's producing and like thinking, wow, that's what's feeding my baby. Yeah, so nursing is going really well. In the first few weeks, she was pooping so frequently. With every feeding, she pooped like twice, sometimes 3 times. It was crazy how much she was pooping. But that's finally starting to slow down a little bit. And now she poops maybe like every other feed, something like that. So it's like not quite so much poop now, so that's nice. She's starting to get a little bit of the baby acne on her skin, right on schedule. I remember Alex had that too right about this point. And yeah, I feel like this time I'm not freaking out about it as much as I did the first time. Like with Alex, I was like, oh my gosh, he has this baby acne on his face. Am I eating something wrong? Like what, yada yada yada. And this time I'm just like, infants get baby acne. It's a phase. It'll pass. Whatever. So yeah, that just kind of started in the last couple days. So schedule. We are working gradually on falling into a schedule. Alex has continued to have his regular schedule that he had before she was born, so that having an older child really motivates you to get the younger child onto a schedule also, so that we can all be in sync. So the way that I'm doing that is just kind of like starting at night, because the most important thing is wanting to get her to sleep through the night. That's kind of like where I started in trying to get us into a schedule. And that basically involves having a bedtime routine for her. We had, been doing the normal, like get her in her pajamas, nurse her, swaddle her, put her into bed when we go to bed. But in the last couple days, I decided that I want to start putting her to bed a little bit earlier, because she was kind of naturally you know, doing a long couple hour chunk of sleep in the evenings anyway. So I figured she's going to be sleeping anyway. Let's just make this part of her nighttime sleep. What I've been doing is I usually put Alex to bed. His bedtime is in the 8 o'clock hour. Sometime he's usually in bed between 8 and 8:30. And then after that, I move on to her. And I get her in her pajamas. And then usually she has some awake time during that time. So yeah, she kind of naps in like the late afternoon, early evening, and then she's kind of like awake after that for a little while. So yeah, so we just have a little one-on-one, I have a little one-on-one time with her during that time, which is really nice because I don't get that with her during the day with 2 kids. So so we just have that little bonding time after we get her in her jammies, and she usually wants to cluster feed during that time anyway. So in that hour after I put Alex to bed, she usually nurses 3 or 4 times. So, which is good because I want to get her all topped off, you know, right before putting her to bed. So that's what we have been doing. And then since Bill and I don't go to bed till later, we're night owls, as I said, we've just been, you know, putting her to bed in the swing, since we have the swing in our living room and that's where we usually are spending our evening. And we want to just have her with us during that time. And she's a newborn, so she'll sleep anywhere at this point. So yeah, so that first part of her night sleep she does in the swing. We kind of turn the lights down and put on some soft music, so that helps induce sleep a little bit. So once she's asleep in her swing, then started a pumping routine. I decided that I just want to pump once a day. That's the routine that I was in with Alex before, just so I can get a bit of a stash in our freezer just to have for when, you know, I want her to be with somebody else for a couple hours if I want to go do something. It's nice to feel like there's just a little bit of that freedom there. So I just want to pump for that. And hey, let's be real, like breastfeeding is like nature's liposuction. Seriously, the fat is coming off of me and it's going onto her. It's just absolutely genius and fabulous. Why not do a little extra pumping and just help that process along a little bit? The other reason to have it is last time when I was nursing Alex, I had a friend who was having some supply issues, and I ended up giving her half of my stash to help feed her son. And so I really like having that option because I do have a bunch of friends with babies, and you know, if any of them were to need help, you know, with little extra breast milk, I'm totally happy to give half of my stash away. Yeah, so it's just kind of nice to have a breast milk stash for many reasons. So yeah, so I've incorporated that into our evening routine. So when Bill and I then go to bed for the evening, we take her up with us and change her diaper, and I do a little bit more cluster feeding right before we go to bed to top her off again. And then that's when I swaddle her and put her in the co-sleeper in our room. And usually once we swaddle her, that really helps her sleep. She will often do a 4-hour stretch once she's swaddled, and if she's had a really good feed right before that. So that's awesome. And then she will usually wake up and I will nurse her, and then she will go another like 3 hours. That's kind of been the normal routine. Granted, that's not every night. There are exceptions. I have some bags under my eyes, as you can see, so we're not perfect on sleep here. The other night she was like waking up every like 20 minutes between 3 and 4 o'clock, and that was unusual. And it's actually because, oh my gosh, when I'm in a sleep deprived state, I don't make the best decisions. I realized that I had kept trying to feed her on the same side, and that the reason she kept waking up was because that side was empty and I should have switched to the other side. But you know, you're not all there at 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and you don't make the best decisions. Anyway, that was my fault, and I'm like conscious of it now. I'm like, okay, which side did I nurse her on last time? Let's make sure it's the other side this time. But for the most part, her sleep has been really good. When she wakes up in the early morning before Alex wakes up, you know, she usually wakes up around 7 or so, I unswaddle her and I bring her into bed with me and nurse her at that point, and then she and I just like go back to sleep for another hour or so in bed, and yeah, so it works great. So we're really getting a night routine established. Then in the morning, Bill actually goes into work later and works later, so he usually leaves for work around 10. So it's nice to have him in the morning because he gets up and does Alex's entire morning routine for the most part. It's great. He gets him dressed feeds him breakfast, and during that time I can sleep a little bit and nurse her and get myself ready and get her ready for the day. And that's like part of like getting her in a schedule, is like actually putting her in pajamas at night and getting her dressed during the day. This is like one of the things that signals to her like, oh, this is daytime, this is nighttime. Like the middle of the day, it's still not that scheduled. I'm just trying to like pay attention to her rhythms and like kind of fall into a schedule based on her rhythms. So she still just does a lot of sleeping during the day, although she is starting to get a lot more alert time. She is, now that she's almost a month old, she is starting to be a little more alert during the day. Yeah, so I feel like we don't have that much of a schedule in the middle of the day yet, but we're working it from both ends. We're working it, you know, in the morning and at night, and just hopefully it will grow into a full day schedule. So that's where we're at with that. Having 2 kids now, it like really forces me to be a lot more efficient with my time and like really focusing on getting a schedule. Just because it's like, that's how you survive. It's like having that order, really helps everyone and makes our day much more pleasant and smooth. And when there's that increased responsibility, like it forces you to be a lot more disciplined. I definitely need that like outside influence to force me to be a disciplined person, because I'm not like a super disciplined person on my own. And so in that way, like I kind of appreciate that, because it's like, you know, my life circumstances are forcing me to be more organized and efficient with my time. So I guess that's a good thing. So yeah, that's it on her. She's doing great. She's such a little sweetheart. And moving on to how I'm doing postpartum, I'm continuing to do really well. I just mentioned our sleep schedule. I still, you know, I feel like my biggest like struggle in life is like getting enough sleep. I mean, in general, even when I don't have a newborn. Just because we're such night owls. Both Bill and I are just like genetically built that way. It's like we just get so much energy at night, and it's like that's our normal rhythm. I feel like if we had no like outside restrictions on our life, our normal biorhythm would be like going to bed at 2 a.m. and waking up at 10 a.m. Like that would be like ideal. That's like what our bodies want to do. And so anyway, so we're always fighting to like get to bed earlier, but it's difficult because it's just not our biorhythm. So I definitely am sleep deprived. I probably am getting, you know, 5-6 hours of sleep at night, you know, with 1 or 2 wakings to feed her. And I am feeding her side lying, so I can often like rest while I'm feeding her, which helps. And then I usually try to get a nap when Alex is napping. I will co-sleep with her in our bed during daytime sleep. So when Alex goes to sleep in the afternoon, like I will try to bring her in bed with me, nurse her, and have the 2 of us take a nap there, because she guaranteed will go to sleep if she's snuggled up with me in bed. Like every time she'll go to sleep. So I do try to get that nap. The thing is though, like I put Alex down and then I have to nurse her, and then usually by then she's pooped, so then I have to change her, and then I have to nurse her again before we can fall asleep. And oftentimes, you know, by the time we're all done doing that and I actually fall asleep, a half an hour later then Alex wakes up. So, you know, it's not always, when it's just me here, it's not always the best nap or the longest nap, but it's something. When one of our mothers is here helping, that's great, because then they can get up with Alex after he wakes up from his nap, and I can keep sleeping. So on the days that they're here, I can usually get like a 2.5 hour nap, and that is fantastic. I actually did that today, and that's why I'm feeling awake enough this evening to actually film this. So I'm so thankful to have that family support. It really makes having a newborn a lot easier. So on the recovery front, I'm still doing great. I think I forgot to mention my first update, but I did have after pains. When your uterus is contracting back down, it's like having contractions again. And I've heard with subsequent children, they're actually stronger than with your first child. And I found that to be really true, especially when you nurse, because nursing stimulates uterine contraction. The first week or 2, I actually was like taking a little bit of Advil just because it was, you know, it was so long lasting and I was trying to get sleep and stuff. But yeah, those completely passed, and those are completely gone now. In terms of bleeding, I am still at this point just spotting. I've had a couple days and I'm like, oh, the bleeding has stopped, but then like a few hours later, like the spotting will pick up again. And it's just kind of gotten to this point where it's just kind of like a clearish pinkish. It's not like a normal period. It's just like this like strange spotting that's just lingering and lingering and lingering and lingering. So yeah, but I talked to the midwife about that today and she said, yep, totally normal to bleed for up to 6 weeks. So so that's good, I guess. But I'm just down to a panty liner now, so it's totally manageable. But yeah, holy cow. Now that I am no longer pregnant and the hormones are like trying to regulate again, like my body has just been like wigging out. It's kind of crazy. All of my inflammatory problems have been like flaring up again. You know, like I mentioned, if you've watched my food videos, I'll have those linked below. I have suffered from IBS in the past and that has kind of flared up again. I have a strange condition in my nails called lichen planus and I get it like in the skin and my fingertips. It's very strange. And my face, like I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but like I've like gotten all of this acne all of a sudden and it's just like my whole body is just like freaking out right now. Part of it I think is hormonal because of everything kind of trying to get back to normal in that regard, but I think it's also you know, I haven't been eating as great just because I'm, you know, in the postpartum period I'm not cooking very much. We've had a number of like frozen meals which has a lot of like white refined grains, that kind of thing, and I'm pretty sure that that is contributing as well, because when I'm not eating as well as we usually do, like that can make all these things flare as well. So it's just like coming from all angles here, but I feel like at this point I am starting to get, you know, better. Like I feel like I'm starting to get to a point where I can like cook again and start getting back into eating the way we normally eat. So hopefully that will help with all of this crazy stuff as well. Oh, and another strange thing I've been getting is, I mean, I guess it's not that strange. I read it's totally normal, but I get night sweats now. Like it's nuts. Ever since like the day after she was born, every night I've been getting these like crazy night sweats, and I'm not the kind of person that even sweats very much. Like it takes a lot for me to sweat, but like I'll wake up and like my sheets are like drenched and it's kind of crazy. And I read about it and I guess it's a hormonal thing. When you have all of those hormone levels just drop at birth, it like, this is just one of those weird body reactions, and it's another way to shed some of the extra water weight that you had in pregnancy. I guess you don't just pee all of it off, you sweat some of it off too. So yeah, so I'm still getting those now, although it seems to be starting to taper off just a little bit now, which is nice because it's like I feel like I'm having to change my sheets really regularly, which is kind of a bit of a hassle. So it's nice that that's passing now. In terms of weight loss, I am now down 24 pounds. You know, I mentioned last time that I was like losing a pound of water weight a day for the first week or two. It was crazy, but I feel like I've finally like hit a plateau now. I am continuing to wear the belly bandit on my belly, and I am amazed by how much it's really brought my belly in. And it's not quite as dramatic of a change as it was right at the beginning, but I still, you know, it seems like every week now I'm able to get it just a little bit tighter. So that's great. I still, you know, have nice flabby mama belly, but it doesn't protrude nearly as much as it did with my first baby. So I'm a huge fan of using the belly bandit. So that's it for the 4-week postpartum update. Here she is. You say hi, YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. I have lots more postpartum videos coming out. I'm also going to be doing some upcoming videos on establishing good breastfeeding habits and how to establish some good sleep habits, and just a little discussion on how I'm adjusting to being a mother of 2. Anyway, so keep your eyes peeled for those videos upcoming. Yeah, if you guys haven't subscribed already, please do so below. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.